Hi, and welcome to Stamp with Ginny. Today I'm going to share with you how I made this great little calendar card using the Forever Lovely stamp set and framelit dies. This calendar is designed so that it'll lay flat and go into a regular size envelope. So let me set this aside and I'll show you how we get started. Okay, I'm going to use my Stampin' Trimmer for this next step, and you're going to take your piece of cardstock that measures 4 1/4 by 8 1/2, and we are going to set this on the 4 1/4 inch mark, and use your bone folder or the trimming blade here to mark the cardstock, and then I am going to move my cardstock over to the 2 1/8 inch mark. And I am going to score again. And I use the bone folder so that you can see that a little better. And at this point I am going to move my cardstock to the short side and put that at the top of the ruler. And I'm going to set that on the 3 1/8 inch mark. And I'm going to slide my blades up here. I've set this Post-it note on the back side of my blade so I could see these score lines a little easier. And I can just move it to where I want. And I'll take the cutting blade and I'm going to cut all the way down to the 4 1/4 inch mark. And then I can take my piece of cardstock out and simply trim it along this 4 1/4 inch score line to that mark. And that gives me a shape that looks like this. So let me set this aside and I'll show you the next step. Okay, for this next step I'm going to use my Stamparatus, and I'm bringing in a piece of Whisper White cardstock that measures 2 1/4 by 4 1/8. I'm going to lift this up here, and I've drawn some lines so that my cardstock is in the center of my Stamparatus instead of on my corner place here when I did this. And I'm going to set my magnets on that, and I am ready to stamp. So I'm going to bring my stamp image in there so that I can adjust the magnet so that there's plenty of room. I'm ready to ink this up, and I'm going to be using my Mint Macron for this. So I'm carefully going to ink that up. I do like to use Stampin' Spots, but today I'm using my full-side pads. And I prefer the Stampin' Spots only because you don't get this over stamp with your ink pad, and you have a little more control. I've got the Mint Macron done, and I'm going to move on to my Petal Pink. I'm going to ink up those flowers, and I love the way this stamp gives you this watercolor effect. There we go. I've applied the pressure, and I've got this beautiful image. So let's take this off of the Stamparatus and set it aside. I can bring in my card base again, and this piece goes right here. So I am going to add a little adhesive to the back of this and apply it to the right hand side of my card base. This is on the inside of the card base as you would traditionally think of it, or the larger piece here at the bottom. And then I'm going to fold this down so that you can see this next location that we're going to stamp now. So I'm going to take my piece of 2 by 3 Whisper White cardstock and my soft suede ink pad, and I'm going to stamp up this sentiment. And I just thought this was perfect for a calendar, wishing them a lovely day. And then I'm going to take my Mint Macron and the 2 leaf images, and I am going to randomly stamp this so that it is going to show behind the little flower that I am going to pop up. I've put the 3 little leaves there, and then I'm going to use this open leaf and I'm going to add that. Okay? And I'm ready to stamp that single flower. So I'm bringing in my Whisper White cardstock piece, and I'm going to ink up my flower and stamp 1, 2, 3, and I'm ready to cut this out with the framelit die and my Big Shot. Okay, I've brought my flower back that I have run through the Big Shot, and I'm adding a couple of dimensionals to the back of it. And I am going to add some adhesive to the back of my sentiment here. And I'm going to place my sentiment onto the card front, this bottom corner, on the left. And then I'm going to remove the dimensional layer. That keeps it from being sticky. And I'm going to set this on the greens here, being careful not to have it come off the edge, because when you fold it and add the calendar, with a little adhesive here onto the bottom, you want to make sure that it will not stop it from going into your envelope or from standing up. Now at this point I'm ready to put on my pearls, and I'm using my Take a Pick tool. I love using the clay end here, and you can simply push it up to get more clay, to pick up these little pearls and simply place them where you want to go. It's that quick and easy. Love these little Take a Pick tools. They are wonderful for this kind of thing. Makes adding rhinestones and pearls so much easier. There we go. I've added my pearls, and at this point I'm ready to add a whisper white panel to the back, stamped the way I wanted, so that I've got a place for my signature, my greeting, or note. If you'd like any of these products, feel free to stop by my online store. It's open 24/7, and you can get there from my blog, Stamp with Jini. And if you'd like a new 2019 Occasions catalog and don't already have a demonstrator, email me your name, address, and phone number, and I'll be happy to mail you one. Thanks for joining me.